Hey guys, today we'll be discussing claim warrant impact. I'll be using the resolve the United States should require universal background checks for all gun sales and transfer of ownership, and I'll just be walking you through my old case and showing you my contentions, how I use claim warrant impact, and basically when you should use them and how you can use them. So for me, I didn't put a lot of impact statements throughout my opening speech, but I tend to use my impact statements throughout the round and kind of flesh it out. Other debaters like to include their impact statements in their opening speeches. It just depends on the type of debater you are and your preference. So for me, my first contention here was that universal background checks will help lower the number of gun-related deaths, including homicides, mass shootings, and suicides. So here in this paragraph, I show a lot of statistical evidence. You don't necessarily need to have a lot of statistical evidence. You can definitely use opinions, scholarly articles, that sort of thing, but make sure they're from reputable sources. .edu, .gov, .org, those are definitely reputable sources as long as you just make sure. So one warrant I guess I could say here is that Johns Hopkins researchers determined that the repeal of Missouri's background check law was linked to a 14% increase in Missouri's murder rate throughout 2012. This is not necessarily the best warrant I could have used in this argument because it only focuses on Missouri, but throughout the rest of the paragraph, I tend to focus on more of like a statewide thing and more of like a national thing. So for my second contention, I wrote that the majority of the population of the United States support universal background checks. So in this paragraph, I didn't include a lot of warrants, but I definitely include statistics that there's a lot of support for universal background checks in this paragraph, and that's mainly most of what this paragraph is. Alright, so my third paragraph, this has a mix of warrants and impacts as well. So this might be a better example just to show you guys. So universal background checks are effective and proven to increase the quality of life within the United States. So in this paragraph, I kind of discuss how many states have universal background checks, what the quality of life is within the states. And then in this highlighted paragraph, I show you that implementing universal background checks reduces societal costs associated with gun violence. So that's one thing I tend to bring up is societal costs, what it's going to cost you, in essence, like what is it going to cost you, what is it going to give you, that sort of thing. You want to kind of consider what the world is gaining from your position or what the world is losing from your position in terms of your impact. So here I'm focusing on that if we pass universal background checks, so many of these good things will happen. So that's one of my impacts. So I put an impact statement at the bottom here. This is something I would definitely include later on the round. It's kind of sappy. It's not necessarily the best. I would definitely flesh out, like for this third contention, that we're gaining so many different things from universal background checks, but we're losing a lot of things by not having them. So that sort of thing would definitely be an impact for my third contention. This is kind of more like a sappy one-liner that you could definitely bring up in like a final focus or something, just to kind of get your judge's attention. So here, that each little bit of progress you make is a human life saved, its entire family whose lives aren't torn apart and changed forever. So that's something that you can definitely bring up if you're trying to hit that emotional target, but a lot of people don't try and do that. It just depends on your style and what you think best will work throughout the round. Alright, so that's all I have for you guys here. Definitely try the activity that I put for you on the document. It's definitely helpful and it's relating to the same topic, but it'll definitely be an exercise in determining claim warrant impact for different statements. Thank you guys.